Welcome to the Cohn Zone. I'm Grant Cohn. Lowell Cohn's not here today. Lowell Cohn has sciatica. He had it last week. The last couple weeks, it's really bad this week. It's gotten worse. So he can't participate. He can't watch. He's glued to the floor, probably looking at the ceiling right now. So keep my dad in your thoughts because he's having the worst time. I saw him this morning. I've never seen my dad in that kind of pain before. It's the kind of pain where you can't even really talk, It's just like constantly shocking pain. Ooh. So it's just me and you guys today. I got 5 topics I want to talk about. I talked about it with my dad. So this is still a joint production. He's just in the background today. And then I'll take some questions if we have time. I don't know where my phone is, so if people are trying to call me and it's an emergency, I lost it. Sorry. I'll find you in a little bit. Okay, so let's do the first one. Biggest takeaway from the conference championship games. I was talking about this with Vish yesterday on Mondays with Vish, and his takeaway was about defense. It was very interesting. The defensive coordinator of the winning team in the AFC, Kansas City, Steve Spagnuolo, how good he is and the value of experience and a coordinator who knows how to beat an offense on 3 critical plays in the game. It's sort of like, you could call it situational football. Not just a scheme guy, but a football coach who knows what it takes to beat a particular team in that particular game, the 3 calls he needs to make and the 3 key plays. That was very interesting. My takeaway has to do with the other conference and the other side of the ball, but it's also about situational football and game management. I was looking at the Green Bay game, the one they lost. I'm looking at their offense. And as good as Steve Spagnuolo was for the Chiefs, that's how bad Matt LaFleur was for the Packers. He lost that game. Not Aaron Rodgers, not the defense, Matt LaFleur. And there were a lot of examples, but the most glaring one was late in the game. Let's see, what was this exact situation? It was Bucks 8-yard line, 4:42 left in the fourth quarter, trailing by 8, 31-23. At this point, Matt LaFleur should have been telling Aaron Rodgers, this is 4-down territory. We're not kicking a field goal here. Because even if we don't get the touchdown, we give the Bucks the ball back inside their 10-yard line. They're going to go 3 and out. We're going to get the ball back with time. You do not punt here. You do not kick a field goal here. 4-down territory. And what's important about that is if you approach that series as we're definitely taking 4 downs here, then you don't have to throw into the end zone every time. You don't have to throw every time, which is what they did. They had 3 end zone passes, balls that went beyond the goal line. All 3 were incomplete. Kick a field goal. They lost. What they should have done, and this is like basic game management stuff, call your best run play in one of those 4 plays. Call one pass where the ball doesn't go past the goal line, a simple dump off to a running back or a tight end. Call one pass to your 6'6" tight end who has like 11 receiving touchdowns on the season. Instead, 3 low percentage throws and you're out and you kick a field goal. That's Matt LaFleur losing the game. And I understand Aaron Rodgers being extremely frustrated and saying, like, how many times am I going to lose in the playoffs because of an incompetent coach? How many times am I going to have to win games in the playoffs despite my head coach? I totally feel him on that. Before the season started, I predicted that the Packers would fire Matt LaFleur by the end of the year. And after he beat the New Orleans Saints, that Twitter freezing cold takes, old takes exposed, retweeted me. And a lot of people laughed at me, all the Packers fans who were really happy with Matt LaFleur. How do you like Matt LaFleur now? Matt LaFleur is going to be the reason that Aaron Rodgers leaves, not Mike McCarthy. Matt LaFleur is going to be the reason that Aaron Rodgers says, I want to leave. I don't want to play here anymore. And you know what? He's right. Matt LaFleur isn't ready. I don't think he's ready to be a head coach. He certainly isn't ready to coach a player like Aaron Rodgers. And here's what I want to say. I want to tie this into the Niners, how the Niners can learn from this and how it applies to them. Basically, it's the same mistakes that Kyle Shanahan makes. It's the same reason he lost Super Bowls. Game management. Now, Kyle Shanahan is a much better coordinator than LaFleur, much more creative, much better play designer. But these guys have both I mean, Kyle Shanahan's ruined Matt Ryan's opportunity to win a Super Bowl. And now Matt LaFleur's ruined Aaron Rodgers' opportunity to win a Super Bowl because these guys are great. I mean, what they do is play design. What they don't do well is game management. And what's interesting is play design is important. All these teams want to hire coaches who bring in this system. The Jets wanted it. The Jets hired Saleh, and they're like, make sure you bring in Matt LaFleur's little brother. We want this system. It is the it system in the league, kind of like how the Seattle Seahawks defense was the it system on defense for 10 years. So people want it, and it works. I mean, you get a running game. You get a play action game. It makes the quarterback's job easier. The problem is all these glorified offensive coordinators become head coaches because of their system. They get deep into the playoffs, and winning in the playoffs isn't about your system. It's about game management. It's about situational football, really close games. What do I do? 4:42 left in the fourth quarter, down 8, the 8-yard line. What do I do? And a guy like Matt LaFleur, it's like, have you ever been in this situation before? Do you know what to do? He looked like he'd never been presented with those, with that situation, that deficit, that time left, that much pressure. He panicked. He had no plan. I don't know. Aaron Rodgers, he could have taken over. Tom Brady would have. So that's what the Niners have to look at, is like the whole league has to look at. System's great, but it only gets you so far. What Kyle Shanahan needs to work on is game management. And how do you work on game management? I've gone on about how, you can't improve decision making. You're either a good decision maker or you're not by the time you're about 24. That's true. But one way you can improve your game management decisions is the only way to improve that, it would be with experience. The reason Brady's so good at it, well, he's a good decision maker, 1, and 2, experience. He's seen it all. He's been in it all. And Shanahan, he's been around a long time, but what's one way? This is going to sound crazy, but bear with me on this. I honestly believe that Kyle Shanahan should take like an hour out of his day every day this offseason and play Madden. Serious. Play Madden. Look, I haven't played Madden since Madden 04 when Vic was on the cover. I don't have time for that. But I'm not a football coach either. It sounds like it's very realistic these days. And what he needs to be doing is simulating game situations, as many as possible. Simulating game situations. That's the only way he can get better at it. And the problem with being a head coach as opposed to a manager in baseball is you only get 16 games in the regular season. Bruce Bochy, Bob Melvin, they get to do it every day. They get to work on, when do I take out my starter? How do I fill up my lineup card? When do I bring in the lefty? These are decisions they make every day. Kyle Shanahan gets 16 days a year to work on this. Play Madden. And you know what? Other teams, I know you guys are probably thinking I'm crazy, but I think what teams should really do is they should hire 2 Madden experts. If I were a head coach, I would do this. There are like Madden competitions, right? There are people who make millions of dollars playing Madden. They're like the greatest Madden players in the world, tournaments and stuff. I would hire 2. And every week, I would have them simulate the game. I'd have one guy be my team and the other guy be the other team and be like, play each other 50 times. Tell me what worked. Tell me what didn't. I would want that information. I think that would be really interesting. The two preeminent Madden players in the world simulating the upcoming game for me all week. What works? What does? I think it would be interesting. It'd be much more informative than PFF. I just think it'd be kind of cool. I don't know. Anyway. How do you simulate game situations? You play PS5. Kyle, put it in order, get the game, and I think it'll improve you. I think it's what you need. What do you think? Is there something? Is there something here? I mean, I don't play Madden, but you guys probably play a lot of it, and I'm sure you guys are terrific game managers. You guys would have never kicked a field goal down 8 in that situation, would you? I mean, any competent Madden player knows what to do in that situation. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? I'm just saying, we're talking simulating game situations. Only better way would be like virtual reality. And I feel like Madden's almost getting there. So Kyle, you owe me a nickel for that one. That's a really good suggestion. Buy Madden, play it a lot. Don't make the mistakes Matt LaFleur made, because you can blame Jimmy Garoppolo for losing the Super Bowl, and he really was bad, but you picked him. And you can't blame Matt Ryan for losing the Super Bowl the first time because his quarterback rating in that game was 144. Your head coach rating, game management rating was not 144. It was a 39.6. And I just made that up. So, Kyle, something to think about. I think Madden, the more you play Madden, the better your chances are of winning a Super Bowl. You owe me a nickel. It's the best advice you're going to get all day. All right, now we got to talk to you, Kyle, about why you're going to blow it this offseason with Aaron Rodgers. Look, Aaron Rodgers wants out of Green Bay. It's clear for a lot of reasons. Matt LaFleur just lost him the NFC Championship game. He's carrying that team. He doesn't have time to teach Matt LaFleur how to be a coach. Also, he's getting older. He's going to be the MVP this year, probably. He's going to want a new deal now. He's going to want a lot of money now. Not a little bit. Not like, a bargain or something that works for the team. No. He wants to be paid one more mega huge contract because he's always had a chip on his shoulder. He always wants to be validated as the best, number one. Not being the number one pick was a huge slight to him. Being the 26th pick was such a big, oh my God. So yeah, he's going to want a new deal. The fact that the Packers took a quarterback last year means they're probably not going to give him the new deal. He's still petty and bitter about that. No, he's going to want to leave. And Adam Schefter has already named the Niners and the Rams as two teams he could want. Kind of like last year when it was the Niners and the Bucks as the two teams Brady would want. And the Niners thought about it and ultimately said no. And they said it was because they loved Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah, right. Some people say it was just financial that they didn't get Brady. I'm sure there's a lot of factors that went into it. But bottom line, what quote do they always show on television when Brady's playing with the Bucks? Constantly. It's the Bruce Arians quote, hey, I just let him coach. He wants to coach, I let him coach. He's earned it. They didn't let him do that in New England. I don't get it. Yeah, he's right. If you have a quarterback like Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, who are been in the league 20 years, 15 years, and are in the conversation for greatest of all time, yeah, they've earned the right to coach the team if they want to. Just get out of the way. And Kyle Shanahan hadn't reached the point in his maturity, in his life, where he could turn over the team to Tom Brady. And that was his failing. That was his shortcoming. And one day, Kyle Shanahan either will mature past that or he won't. So now he said no to Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, and Tom Brady. They weren't good enough for him. He said no. And why did he say no to Tom Brady? Because Tom Brady would want to coach the team, and that's Kyle's job. He's not ready to turn it back and just sit back and watch. Not ready to do that. He would rather have a quarterback like Jimmy Garoppolo or Kirk Cousins, who takes orders and lets Kyle be the star. That's the way it is. So if he said no to Tom Brady, how is he going to say yes to Aaron Rodgers? Aaron Rodgers is going to want to coach the team. He's going to want the same treatment Tom Brady has in Tampa Bay. And frankly, Rodgers has earned it. Should the Niners trade for Rodgers and let him coach the team? Hell yes. Yes, it would be a terrific learning experience for Kyle Shanahan. He should be eager for the opportunity to work with and study under the great Aaron Rodgers. He should want that. It would be enriching for him, but he won't. He would think that he knows more football than Rodgers. It would be a competition, just like it would have been with Brady. Aaron's not competing with him. So that's Kyle. Look, it's a challenge to Kyle. Kyle, he's available. He wants to play for you. Seems like, according to Schefter, just say yes. Show some growth because you made a mistake with Tom Brady. You see it. If you had said yes to Tom Brady, you didn't even have to pursue him. All you had to do was say yes, one word. You'd be in the Super Bowl right now. But you said no. And now you got to do the next best thing, which is get Rodgers. He's not as good as Brady. You get Rodgers, there's no guarantee that you're beating the Bucs next year. And we'll talk about that later. Why? Brady's the best. But Rodgers is right there. If it's 1A and 1B. If Brady's 1A, then Rodgers is 1B. You got the opportunity. Don't pass on this because he's going to want to call the plays, because you're going to be a passenger instead of a driver. You should be so lucky. But here's what's going to happen, all right? Kyle's not going to listen to me on this. He's watching, but he's not going to listen. What he's going to do, he would much rather have a quarterback like Matthew Stafford. I'm guessing. But knowing Kyle, he would much rather have a quarterback like Matthew Stafford, and I'll tell you why. Matthew Stafford doesn't want to coach the team. Matthew Stafford never talks. Does he have an opinion? Does he have a voice? I've never heard it. He is quiet. He's a good soldier. He'll take orders. He'll let Kyle be the star. He'll follow directions. And that's what Kyle wants. And there's something to be said for that. But when you're passing up guys like Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, and Tom Brady, so you can get Matthew Stafford because he's more malleable, there's a problem. When you didn't even scout Patrick Mahomes because you wanted Kirk Cousins because he's super malleable, there's a problem. So Kyle, prove me wrong here. All right? Don't settle for Matthew Stafford because he's supplicant, because he's quiet, because he's not an alpha in the way that Rodgers and Brady are. He's not. He's not. And just getting Matthew Stafford doesn't guarantee that you'll even get to the NFC Championship game because the Bucs are still a power. And Rodgers, whatever team he goes to next year, assuming he stays in the NFC, is going to be better than the Green Bay team he's leaving, assuming that he leaves. Because he's not going to leave that team to go to a rebuilder. No, if he leaves there, he'll go to like the Rams or the Saints if they can clear up some cap space or some team that's good. So those are going to be the favorites. And then now you got Matthew Stafford, who, you know, when he wins his first playoff game, when he wins his next playoff game, it'll be his first. So, Kyle, Stafford probably was your plan. It was your ace up your sleeve. I think people could see this situation coming a mile away, that he would have another losing season and force his way out. I mean, Patricia got fired months ago. We saw this coming. Rodgers, this was like out of nowhere. Kyle, don't make the same mistake 2 years in a row. But you will. That's the thing. You will. You absolutely will. And I think a lot of people probably in the comment section are on your side and defending you and saying I'm wrong. That's fine. I was right last year when I said Tom Brady that you needed to sign him, and people said I was wrong. I just want to put this on record. I want to have this documented that I said that you're going to balk at Rodgers and bring in Stafford. I'm saying that you're going to do that, and that it's a mistake. So prove me wrong. I love being wrong. I'm wrong all the time, Kyle. What's one more time? Challenge you. I'm calling you out. All right. The one thing I don't like about Tom Brady, I mentioned he's better than Aaron Rodgers. And I think it's really, I was talking about it with Vish the other day. What makes Brady better than Rodgers? And I'll briefly go through it. I don't want to recap the whole thing, but briefly. Go away. I'll get you later. I don't have time for this. All right. He can't move like Rodgers. Rodgers has the elite skill set. He's got probably a stronger arm, a quicker release, better mobility. He's what you want, the more gifted quarterback. But Tom Brady, to me, is just, first of all, the situational football. He's like the smartest game manager in the world. Has a better feel, mastery of what to do in each situation than anyone in the world. Better than Rodgers, better than any coach, better than Belichick. He is a master. I always feel like Tom Brady is 2-3 steps ahead of what it takes to win the game, not just on offense, but the whole team. He's the head coach. And even when he commits a turnover, when he throws a pick, it's almost like he minimized the risk of it. Like it's a punt. It's down the field. Did the Packers ever score off of one of his turnovers? There's something about the way that he really is a coach on the field. He's a coach on the field in a way that I've never seen, at least in the modern era, from a quarterback, beyond Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning was an offensive coordinator on the field. Tom Brady is a head coach, and I think he's the best head coach of the league. He made Josh McDaniels look like a genius. He made Bill Belichick look better than Bill Walsh. He's not built better than Bill Walsh. Bill Walsh developed 2 quarterbacks. Let's see Bill Belichick do that. Bill Belichick lucked into Brady. Brady got a lot of people paid. Now Brady's making Bruce Arians look like a genius. And Arians is saying like, hey, don't give me credit. I'm just watching. I got a good seat too. So Brady's got all that stuff. And I'm not taking shots at Rodgers because it's not that Rodgers isn't a great game manager. There's never ever been anyone like Brady. He is a savant. But the one thing I don't like about Tom Brady, he's a freaking sore loser, and I don't like it. It bothers me. Every time he finishes a game, I watch to see what he does. And when he wins, which is most of the time, he smiles and he's presidential and he walks over to the losing quarterback who's like 15 years younger than him and he gives him a little pat in the head and whispers, good effort, he's real gracious then. But when he loses, he's gone. He just out, doesn't say, remember when he lost to Chicago this year? He didn't say a word to Nick Foles, who had beaten him in a Super Bowl, one of two guys who's beaten that guy in a Super Bowl. He just leaves. You're supposed to have respect for the game. And I think part of what makes Brady different than Rodgers is his crazy, maniacal drive to prove himself. Because like I mentioned with Rodgers was just the 26th pick. Brady was the 6th round pick. Rodgers had to go to Chico, but when he went to Cal, he was a hot shot, big time recruit. Brady was like the 7th on the depth chart when he got to Michigan. He's had a way more difficult path to where he's gotten. And I think the chip on his shoulder is way bigger than people realize, and Rodgers can't even really compare. I'm not excusing Brady's bad behavior, but I think there is something almost that drives him that prevents him from being human. And I don't like that. Yes, the Niners should have had him, but every time he is ungracious after a loss, I think that speaks poorly of him. Part of being a competitor is that. It's not just how you played in the game, but it's how you acted after. It's all part of competition. And one of the things that's so charming about hockey is it's like the most physical game. They hit each other and then they do fist fights. There's no fist fights in football. They throw their gloves down and punch each other in the jaw, and they're allowed to keep fighting until one guy falls. That's hockey. But then after all of that, at the end of the game, they get up in a line and actually shake everyone's hand. I like that. And in football, they do that too. Most of the players, after they spent the entire game hitting each other, knocking each other out, talking trash, hug each other, pray together, exchange jerseys. It's wonderful. It's one of the nice things about competition. It's like you can turn it on and off. You can compartmentalize it. On the field, you're my enemy. As soon as the buzzer sounds, we're pros, we're humans, and we're role models. I admire it. And with Tom Brady doesn't have that, I don't like it. Maybe Michael Jordan didn't have it either. I don't like that. I just don't like it. Do better. That's all I'm saying. If I were here, if my dad could have been much more eloquent about that, you know what I'm saying? So how do I tie that into the Niners? Oh, Kyle Shanahan wouldn't show someone up like that. Jimmy Garoppolo wouldn't show someone up like that. The Niners aren't sore losers. Now, they'll tell themselves that they didn't mean to lose, but they show respect to the opponent. You know who didn't show respect to the opponent? Jim Harbaugh. That thing he did in Detroit to Jim Schwartz was like, what? Harbaugh's 5th win in the NFL. Like, he just got there. He beat Detroit in Detroit. He runs across the field, barely makes eye contact with Schwartz, like slaps him in the back and runs past him like, peace. Schwartz had every right to be angry. Schwartz did look ridiculous because he was smaller than Harbaugh and chasing Harbaugh, and he had just lost. But in retrospect, I'd have been just as mad at Harbaugh, and I probably would have chased after him too and looked ridiculous. But Harbaugh was wrong. You don't act like that. It's not, I don't know what the word is, but it doesn't make you a better competitor to pout afterward. It just makes you basically stuck in adolescence. And Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, who's 43 years old, is basically still 13. Basically a 7th grader who's the best at Madden. And when he loses, he kicks the game, punches the TV, and walks home crying. Dang, Tom, do better. Okay. Let's talk about McGlinchey. The thing, I feel like Niners Twitter and, all the analysts, all the bloggers pretty much agree that Jimmy Garoppolo is done. It's time to find an upgrade, and there are just a million ways to upgrade. I mean, there's the draft, there's free agency, there's trades. It's going to be like 15 quarterbacks changing teams. Like half the starting quarterbacks in the league are going to be on new teams. Like, it's easy. It's time. Do it. Everyone agrees on that. But it seems like I'm the only person. There's always one thing every offseason where I'm out on my own and people call me crazy. And I either am crazy or I'm 100% right. And it's the McGlinchey thing. Everyone's saying, you know what? Yeah, Mike McGlinchey was a joke this year and he fell all over himself and he weighed 285 pounds and he couldn't withstand he couldn't stand up to NFL power or NFL speed. You know what? Just bring in a new quarterback. Offensive line will be allowed. It's not that bad of an offensive. Offensive lines around the league really are all pretty bad. And if you think the Niners offensive line is bad, that really just means that you don't watch enough of other teams. And it really just shows you that you're kind of like a prisoner of your own local team and you got to get out there and watch more. And McGlinchey, you think he's bad, watch other guys around the league. Really? That's what we're going with this offseason? Niners Nation? That's the plan? That's the PR spin? He's not that bad. He's not. Okay. Here's what's going to happen, all right? It reminds me of what everyone was saying about Jimmy Garoppolo last year. You saw what happened to Jimmy Garoppolo in the playoffs. He got exposed. In Minnesota, he almost gave away a near unlosable game to a Minnesota team that was gassed coming in. He threw 3 pickable passes. He was the worst player on the field for the Niners on offense. Next week, they take the game out of his hands, win without him. Super Bowl, he melts down. He's terrible. And it was clear it was time to move on. He'd been exposed. He just didn't have it. But football fans are emotional. And you love Jimmy Garoppolo. And you just weren't ready to quit him, to dump him. And you made all these excuses. And you're like, you know what? It was just his first year off a torn ACL. It was his first full season as a starter. He doesn't even have 2 full seasons of starting experience. Give him another season. Did you see what happened to Matt Ryan in his second season starting? Did you see that? Because he was an MVP. Okay, and Jimmy Garoppolo is younger than he's way better than Matt Ryan. Was younger. Give him a chance. When you knew that was you talking with your emotions. You saw it. He was exposed, and so that first week when he lost to Arizona, that's when everyone turned on him. You knew it. This is what's going to happen to McGlinchey, all right? You've seen that he's terrible. Magically putting on 20 pounds of fat ain't going to do it for him. He's trending down. If he's the starting right tackle next year and there's no competition, there's no plan B, he's just the guy, and the Niners get Stafford, here's what's going to happen most likely, all right? McGlinchey's going to continue to get trucked and thrown around like a toddler in a wave pool, all right? And most likely, he's going to get Stafford hurt the way he got Mullins hurt, the way he got Garoppolo hurt the second time. Most likely, Stafford's going to get hurt because of Mike McGlinchey. And then when that happens, because remember, Niner fans are very emotional. Then Niner fans are going to be really upset about Mike McGlinchey. Then they're going to be like, this is an issue. Why wasn't this addressed? Because at that point, he would have gotten a quarterback injured who Niner fans actually care about. Niner fans are now more emotionally attached to Matthew Stafford than they are to Jimmy Garoppolo. They can care less about Jimmy. When Jimmy Garoppolo laid an egg against Arizona, he was done. They had moved on. It's like Niner fans had gotten a Tinder account and were looking around. And when he had the high ankle sprain week 2, they were like, oh, drag, back to Tinder. Sorry, dude. We're past you. We've emotionally moved on. Niner fans are in love right now with the idea of anyone besides him. And if it's Matthew Stafford, whoever the Niners get, Niner fans are going to love. He's going to be the next Messiah. And if Mike McGlinchey gets that poor man hurt, Niner fans are going to have a real problem with Mike McGlinchey. You can get CJ Beathard hurt, fine. You can get Nick Mullins hurt, fine. We're just going to blame those two. But once it's Stafford, no. It is your fault, Mike McGlinchey. Once Stafford is the one getting beat up behind a bad offensive line, then Niner fans are going to be like, how could Matthew Stafford succeed behind this? It's not fair. Because that's what's going to happen. He's going to get beat up behind a bad offensive line, and it's not all McGlinchey's fault. Laken Tomlinson stinks too. And they don't even have starters at center and right guard. So yeah, just bringing in Matthew Stafford or Aaron Rodgers doesn't magically fix this offensive line. It's trending down, The left tackle's great, but he may not even be on this team next year, and he's 1 of 5. And he didn't seem to have the ability to improve the other 4 members' play like Joe Staley did. I don't know what that's about. But to me, there's a serious amount of denial here. And I just don't get it. It's like, didn't you learn from Jimmy last year? It is an issue. McGlinchey is terrible. And maybe he'll turn it around. But that's not a plan. You can't just say, yeah, you know, we gave up 78 quarterback hits last year, worst in the league by far, like 13 more than the next team. We're just going to get a new quarterback. Problem solved. I trust that Mike McGlinchey is going to play better next year. That's a plan? If I were Mike McGlinchey, I wouldn't like that. I mean, if I were Matthew Stafford, I'd say, no. I don't share your belief and enthusiasm for number 69 over there. I don't. I understand bringing back Mike McGlinchey. I mean, I would trade him for anything. But if you want to have like a right tackle competition with him and someone else, fine. But there needs to be a competition. There needs to be someone else who can start in case he plays like he did in 2020, because that's what I expect. Is he suddenly going to start eating Big Macs again? Double doubles? I don't know. I'm just saying, look, I know we're all very excited for the Niners to get Matthew Stafford or Aaron Rodgers or one of these quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson, but I would just really hate to see the next quarterback get hurt behind this fugazi offensive line. What's happening is Niner fans are telling themselves it's not that bad. It's all Nick Mullen's fault. It's all Jimmy Garoppolo's fault. It's all CJ Beathard's fault. And that misconception is going to come crashing down when the next quarterback gets hurt. And then you're not going to blame the quarterback because you like this quarterback. You like Stafford. You like Rodgers. And then it's going to be like, oh my God, how could they not protect their investment? You trade all that capital and you spend all this money and you renegotiate his contract. You don't even give him an offense. It's gross misconduct. It's like, yeah, that's what I was trying to say, man. It's what I'm trying to say. I saw today online a couple of analytics guys I really respect, Ben Baldwin and Josh Hermsman. I really think they're the 2 smartest analytics dudes in sports journalism. And Ben Baldwin's very into the Seahawks. They're going on a thing today about how there's no correlation between pass protection and quarterback efficiency. Like, okay, I guess you can find stats to prove anything these days. Really, there's no correlation between pass protection and a quarterback's ability to do his job. Really? Oh, I want to hear more about that study. That sounds right. Yep, that sounds right to me. Sure. I'm sure Andrew Luck can attest to that. He didn't need pass protection. Who cares? Ask Russell Wilson if pass protection matters. No, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Who cares? One way or another, he's just going to perform. It's all about the same. It's all bad. I'm sorry. I really respect those guys, and I'm just saying I disagree with them on this point. Like, come on. Pass protection is very important. I think it's important, guys. Unless you're just expecting your quarterback to like block and throw, because that's a dual threat and a half. M, you said something. Maitland Eagle. Yes, the line is a fugazi. It's a fugazi. How can you blame it all on Nick Mullen? Come on, man. Or Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, frankly, I like Jimmy Garoppolo as a player. He's not that good. He's a lot better at his job than Mike McGlinchey is at his. Please. Please. He's a lot better at his job than Laken Tomlinson is at his. Please. Jimmy Garoppolo is better at his job than everyone on the starting offensive line except for Trent Williams. Let's be real clear about that. So, yeah, the Niners are going to get a new quarterback. Probably they'll upgrade the most important position, and that's great. But they still have glaring weaknesses in front of that quarterback, and they better address them unless they want to just roll the dice and be like, hey, Stafford, protect yourself because you did such a great job of that the last couple of years in Detroit. So, and again, I think 75% of you guys are like, I disagree with you, A, move on to the next topic, B, fine. I just wanted to say, I'm going on the record right now that if the offseason plan is replace the quarterback and bring back the same starting 5 on the offensive line, that continuity is what the offensive line needs, or just a center, that all Mike McGlinchey needs is like an extra few trips to In-N-Out Burger, I'm out on that plan. But we'll see. We shall see. We'll see what happens. Okay, final thing, just to piss you guys off even more. Because I know the Mike McGlinchey thing is like, I don't want to talk about that. It's going to be fine. He was fine in 2019. I don't want to talk about that. Let's talk about trading Nick Bosa, which is now you guys are all just going to leave. I have 535 people. It's going to go down to like 200. Look, here's why I float the idea of trading Nick Bosa. It's just, I compared McGlinchey to Jimmy Garoppolo just now in the sense of like the denial. Now I'm going to compare Nick Bosa to Jimmy Garoppolo in the sense of an overvalued asset. Nick Bosa's played one season. He had a very good rookie season. Not an all-time great rookie season, a very excellent rookie season. He's kind of considered like the second best player in the league right now after Patrick Mahomes. That's what George Kittle calls him. That's how the Niners view him. I think a lot of people look at him as the second best player in the league right now after Patrick Mahomes. Now, of course, there's Aaron Donald, but Nick Bosa's younger. He's cheaper. He's not on his second deal yet. Now, he has torn both ACLs and a groin muscle still. For whatever reason, people give Nick Bosa the ultimate pass. He's going to be fine. He recovered from the first ACL. He's going to be back from this one. He's the greatest player of all time. He's the next Reggie White. So if you have a player like that who's very good but overvalued, like Jimmy Garoppolo in 2018 before he tore his ACL, you got to wonder, what's he worth and what could I get? I'd like to know with Nick Bosa, because the way I look at him is that's not a guy I want to give a second contract to. What the Chargers gave Joey Bosa is obscene. They paid him Hall of Fame quarterback money, and that's not even going to approximate what Nick Bosa is going to get. Nick Bosa is going to get like $160 million. He's going to get like 25. No. He's going to get like 30, 31, $32 million. He's going to be the Niner. He's going to make more than Jimmy. I wouldn't pay him that. He's not a quarterback. I wouldn't pay a quarterback that much money, let alone a defensive end. Look at Khalil Mack. Nick Bosa isn't as good as Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack can only do so much. Can you double team Khalil Mack? Yes. Can you chip him? Yes. Are there ways to neutralize him? Yes. Not a quarterback. Don't pay him that. So the way I'm looking at Nick Bosa is I want to trade him eventually. Love having him on a rookie deal. Love having him on a rookie deal. When you're paying him $8-9 million a year, whatever. Yeah, that's great. That's worth it. But I want to trade him eventually. And you have him on that deal for 2 more years. So you can keep him 2021, 2022, get a great value from him when he's healthy, and then trade him eventually. Franchise tag him, get 2 first-round picks, whatever. Or, here's the thing. Do you want to trade Nick Bosa for draft picks? Because it's scary, right? You feel like you're trading a Hall of Famer for what? Now, to me, like I floated on Twitter, trade him for the number 2 pick. You might be able to get more than that. You might be able to get multiple first-round picks. Is he worth it? Well, it's scary, right? Trading him for picks. Here's what you can do. I think he's worth it. You get 3 first-round picks for a guy who's torn both ACLs. Yeah. Now you can get a replacement and other positions. But hold on. What if he is worth multiple firsts? If he is worth more than the number 2 pick in the draft? Because when I said trade him for the number 2 pick, Niner fans are like, no, he's way more valuable than the number 2 pick. All right, well then trade him straight up for Deshaun Watson. Straight up. Does that get it done? Trade him straight up for Aaron Rodgers. If you offered him straight up for Matthew Stafford, I mean, the Lions would have to give you picks back, right? Nick Bosa is a better player than Matthew Stafford, right? He's worth more than Matthew Stafford, right? So if you can get a franchise quarterback without having to give up any picks and trade a guy that you were thinking you might want to trade anyway in a couple of years, I would at least consider it. Honestly, if Houston called you up and were like, look, the Jets want to trade us the number 2 pick, but Nick Bosa is worth more than the number 2 pick. The Jets want to send us this and that. Miami wants to send us this and that. We really don't want to send Deshaun Watson to the AFC. If it's all the same for us, we'd like to send him to the NFC. Deshaun Watson has expressed interest in playing for the 49ers. We'll take Nick Bosa. We feel like it's going to be hard to sell this trade to our fan base, trading Deshaun Watson, a fan favorite, for picks. But we could trade him for Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa is a fan favorite. People love Nick Bosa. He'd be like J.J. Watt times 2, 2.0. I'm just saying, would you trade Nick Bosa for Deshaun Watson? I'd think about it. They're both going to be obscenely expensive. They're both going to make too much money. One's a quarterback. They both have torn their ACLs. One's a quarterback. Yeah, I would trade Nick Bosa for Deshaun Watson straight up. It might not be enough. It might be enough. I'd be curious. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying just dump Nick Bosa because he's not good. I'm saying he's very good and he's valued right now as the greatest of all time. So if you can leverage that misconception, in my opinion, into a Hall of Fame quarterback, you do that. Am I tripping? Am I losing? I mean, am I wrong? Grant, what if we can backload Bosa's extension and trade him midway then? Yeah, that's cool. Do that. Yeah, there's all kind of ways you can keep him. You could do that. I'm just saying eventually you might want to trade that guy because he's going to get expensive eventually. So if that's how you feel and a situation pops up where all these Hall of Fame quarterbacks are available, you might be like, hey, maybe I strike while the iron's hot. Maybe I trade now. Maybe instead of trading half a decade's worth of first-round picks, I trade a guy I was planning on trading anyway, and I trade him coming off a torn ACL, and I trade him way above where I value him. It's something to think about. And if you don't do it, you get Nick Bosa back. So it's like a win-win, in my opinion. All right. 49ers have multiple weight issues. Debo didn't exactly look like he was in shape. Brunskill might be 270. Does this go back to the strength and conditioning staff? Look, Matt H., I think it's an excellent question. Now let's get into the questions. What I want to say, I feel like the problem this year, you guys could disagree with me. I'm trying to connect some dots. It seemed to me that all these issues, these weight issues, were a 2020 issue. And what happened was, it's unfair to blame the strength and conditioning staff because they weren't working. The players were on their own. The players were their own strength and conditioning staff. There was no OTAs or minicamp. So the players had to do it on their own. And it was just, we saw which players, were diligent and responsible and effective with their personal routines. Like Fred Warner, whatever he did worked. He clearly worked out every day. He had a great training regimen. He came back in the best shape of his life by far. Deebo Samuel went down and worked with Trent Williams and Jerick McKinnon. And from what it sounds like, worked too hard, pushed himself too hard, too early in the offseason, broke his foot, never recovered. So I don't think Deebo was dogging it. He did look overweight. But you break your foot, now you can't run. Pull your hamstring, now you can't run. I bet you he didn't get very much cardio in 2020 because his foot was broken in June. So working out a little too hard is what I would imagine with Deebo. Brunskill might be 270. I mean, when they signed him, he's been working very hard to add weight. He's naturally not that big. But I agree, I think losing leadership in 2020, especially on offense, hurt. Staley got the kind of guys who would call up people all across the country in April, May. What are you doing? What's your weight? I feel like Staley's that kind of guy. Are we on track? I don't think Trent Williams was doing that. Now, it's not he doesn't have to. But usually it's good to have one leader on a team who's rallying everyone even on Zoom. And I don't think the Niners had that this year. So you had a mixed bag of who was ready and who wasn't. I mean, George Kittle was working on his contract all offseason. Was he calling Mike McGlinchey and saying, Mike Eaton, Mike, did you have a burger today? Mike, did you get extra cheese on it? No, we talked about it. You need extra cheese on that burger. Not just, no, we're not going protein style, Mike. Not with the lettuce wrap. No, you want fries as well. Get the fries, Mike. Who did that this year? I think I think it was a failure of leadership from the players to the coaches. I'm not going to blame the strength and conditioning staff. It's not fair. Let's see if this persists after the pandemic. More questions. Hold on. And I'm going to do a Cohn phone tomorrow, so just chill. Till the next episode. As it were. That worked pretty well. Ooh, Kay, I see you, Kay. I'm going to get to you. 49ers first takes. Is Deebo losing his mind? His Twitter action has been odd lately. Spend less time tweeting, more time stretching. I don't know. I actually never look at these players' social media accounts because I feel like I don't get these kids anymore. And I would just read too much into them. But the one thing I noticed is, let me look real quick. Debo's picture is him holding like a bottle of wine. Yeah. I just feel like a guy. Look, man, Debo, you're a young man. Let me tell you about wine. It's going to put on the pounds, man. I love wine. But you shouldn't be drinking the wine. You should give the wine to McGlinchey. And you should be drinking nothing but White Claws. All right? Leave the wine alone. It makes me nervous that I see you drinking a glass of red, because once you get the taste for red wine, you can't give it up. It's delicious. And you may have just had your first exposure to some seriously great red wine. And if so, you might be dealing with that extra little chunk on your midsection for the rest of your career. I pray that you got to save the red wine for retirement. All right. You are a White Claw guy. So I'm saying, look, I try not to read too much into social media, but I see you got the leopard print, you got the big chain, you're looking real fly. I love your sartorial choices. You're very well dressed, and you're holding up a glass of red and the bottle, which I think is a Snoop Dogg bottle. Does Snoop Dogg make red wine? I didn't know that. Anyway, you're very proud of it. And you kind of have this contemplative, maybe somber look. You're looking down and to the left, like you got a lot in your mind, and you're somewhere thinking about your woes. And you gotta drink a little red wine to feel better. I feel you, man. But no, White Claw for you. Don't. Good call. If you know what else he's talking about, I don't really know. What's he on these days? Is he okay? Kinlaw had knee surgery. I think probably a cleanup thing. Did he? That's not no good. Let me look. Kinlaw had knee surgery, huh? Well, here's the thing. When the Niners drafted Javon Kinlaw, and then it came out that he'd been flagged at the combine. Oh my God. Yeah, he had knee surgery. Oh man. Okay, so here's the thing. This was flagged at the combine. He had a knee problem before the Niners drafted him, and they drafted him anyway. This is the type of decision making they got to change. They keep taking risk after risk after risk. Yeah, he's got a messed up knee, but we'll work it out. Yeah, D Ford has a messed up back, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, Nick Bosa's torn everything in his body, but we'll see what happens. Eventually, the Niners just got to be a little bit more conservative. That's all I'm saying. They got to be a little bit more conservative. How can you keep saying, well, we had bad luck with injuries, 39 players on IR. Well, look at the kind of players you acquire. How can you be surprised at Javon Kinlaw needing surgery? Like the only team that's surprised. Oh. So here's what the Niners need to do this year. It's going to be very hard for them to scout. No combine, limited pro days, limited access to players. What they got to do is not draft based on, they're not going to know a lot of 40 times. They're not going to have a lot of athletic information, but what they can get, hopefully, is the medical reports. Don't draft a guy in round 1, 2, or 3 who's had a major surgery. Is that fair? I mean, some teams can do it every once in a while. It's a risk you take every once in a while. The Niners have taken that risk so many times. Stop. Just say no. Just don't do it. If you want to take a risk, that's what day 3 is for, baby. That's what round 4 is there for. That's when you take the risk. Not in round 1. Not in round 2. Just take some guys who haven't had major reconstructive surgery. Is that so much to ask? They're 22, 21, sometimes 20. Poor Kinlaw. You know what did it? The squirrel. I heard the squirrel wasn't dead after all. Came back, got his kneecap. Dan Campbell squirrel, straight from Detroit. Got to be careful. Rodents out there, man. They play dead, boom. It's all part of the playbook. I've seen it happen. It's not a pretty sight. Keith says 2 things. Just watched your vid with Vish from yesterday. Why are you so willing to trade Nick? Second, besides Nick, who should we trade if Aaron Rodgers decided to come to us? Okay, that's a good question. Who has value besides Nick Bosa right now? Deebo Samuel, you'd be trading low because he just – you can say the same thing for Bosa. I just feel like there is nothing Bosa could do right now that would hurt his value. Yeah, he missed a season with a torn ACL. No one cares. Debo, people are like, oh, we're going to have to see that. You got hurt again. Hamstring. Uh-oh. Nick Bosa. No, he got the bloodlines. No, his technique is perfect. Nah, he's going to be fine. I just feel like Nick Bosa by far has the most trade value on the team. Who else does? I mean, Ayuk, not like Bosa. Warner, not like Bosa. Kittle, not like Bosa. Jimmy G, Armstead, no. That's the guy who's worth multiple firsts, theoretically. Or he's worth the second pick in the draft. Like, you could theoretically trade Nick Bosa to the Jets, Robert Saleh, for the number 2 pick, maybe more. Trade down from number 2, get the 4th pick and something else. And then you turn Nick Bosa into 2 first-round picks, one at 4 and one later, and take Penei Sewell, the best offensive tackle prospect since Orlando Pace, better than Trent Williams, and pair him with Trent Williams. And then with your other pick that you got from trading down, get an edge rusher. That's what Nick Bosa can afford you. Yeah, he's really good, but he can get you 2 really good picks. I'm just trying to get creative here. And what I'm saying is football teams and football fans make a lot of emotional decisions. We can't trade Nick Bosa. I love Nick Bosa. Like last year, we can't get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. I love Jimmy Garoppolo. He just took us to the Super Bowl, and I was invested in the season. I loved it. Feels great, baby. I love him. You can't make decisions like that. You got to make business decisions. Everyone has a price. Everyone has a value. Is Bosa's through the roof? Yeah. Well, I'm just curious. I just want to know. Can I get Watson straight up? I'll take that. I'd rather overpay Watson than overpay Bosa. So who should we trade if Rodgers decides to come to us? Armstead's not getting you Rodgers. A middle linebacker and Fred Warner's not getting you Rodgers. If you don't trade Nick Bosa, you're trading all your first-round picks. You're trading a first-round pick this year, next year, the year after that, the year after that. And you're giving Aaron Rodgers a brand new contract that pays him like $35 million a year because he has a fragile ego. Really fragile. He still needs to get pumped up because he wasn't the first pick in the draft. So, good question, though. Thanks, Keith. Hi, Grant. How about this? Bosa, Jimmy plus 2022 and 2023 for first for Deshaun. Then re-sign Trent and Verrett. Then trade back and get BPA, either edge or cornerback. See, to me, I don't think Jimmy has any trade value. Maybe, I guess he does. But what I'm saying is Bosa, Jimmy, and 2 first-round picks, I think Bosa's has more value than that. I think it could be Bosa and 1 first for Watson, or just Bosa for Watson. Because again, say Houston just doesn't want to trade Watson inside the AFC. What's the best offer they're going to get in the NFC? Who can beat Bosa? Who can beat that offer? Can the Rams beat that offer? No. Aaron Donald is older, more expensive. Maybe they can offer, I guess you could offer Aaron Donald and that could trump it. But it seems to me that Bosa for Watson could get it done. I don't think you have to offer that other stuff unless the Jets offer every first-round pick they've ever had and Houston's cool trading their guy for picks inside their own division. I think you just hold out and say, we got Bosa. What do you think? 1 for 1. Player for player. We'll give you a 6th in addition. I think it's an interesting power move. Samuel says, yeah, absolutely they are. Of course. All right. Hold on. And then send Armstead to the Colts for their first-round pick. Get the Bash Bros back together. 2 first as leverage for second pick or upgrade quarterback Bosa Armstead. Send Armstead to the Colts for the first-round pick. If only life were that simple. If only Eric Armstead were worth a first-round pick. If the Niners wanted to trade Eric Armstead right now, what do you think they could get for him? A third? A third? Maybe a second? Maybe. He just had a down year. I don't think you could get a first-round pick for Eric Armstead. He's too expensive. He's not good enough. Maybe you'd get a second. So I guess something to think about. If Nick Bosa's worth 2 firsts, maybe Armstead's worth late 2. But I don't think you're getting. Oh, no, you're not going to get that. 2 firsts as leverage for second pick upgrade to Bosa. Yeah, instead of trading Armstead. See, with Armstead, you trading real low. I guess. I don't know. Here's the thing. If you get a first-round pick for Eric Armstead, you do that. Hell yes, you do that. I don't think you get it. You call, see what they offer. But no. He'd be worth a third. I don't think the Niners could have got a first-round pick for Eric Armstead last year. Coming off that 10-sack season, they probably could have got a third for him. He's just a one-year wonder until proven otherwise. So good thought, but I don't think it's that simple. I don't think you can get it done. Some fans are quick to say we're young, we'll be back. Same Niner fans that said it after the Baltimore Super Bowl loss. Feels like they're unraveling like 13. Does feel like they're unraveling. A lot of guys are leaving. You remember in 12 they lost. In 13 they tried to run it back. Didn't work. And then in 14 it all unraveled. Well, if the Niners are on that trajectory, 19 they came close. 20 they started to unravel. And then 21 the exodus happens. Let's see how many people flee this team. You know, in 20, this would be the 2014 season, the final year with Harbaugh. It's not going to be the final year with Shanahan, but this is when people are starting to leave. Salah's gone. LaFleur's gone. Trent Williams could leave. Verrett could leave. Sherman's going to leave. It's going to be a way different team next year. So even if they do bounce back, it's like a retooled effort. It's a whole different squad. Maybe they'll bounce back, or maybe they'll just fall apart completely. They're definitely at a crossroads. I think you're absolutely right to say Niner fans are just kind of taking for granted that the Niners they'll be back. They'll be back. Actually, they might be trending the wrong direction. It might not have been just a one-year blip. It might have been actually they missed their opportunity. The window's closing. The cap's going down. The team's getting more expensive. Free agents are leaving. Coaches are leaving. They missed their opportunity. It's possible. On the other hand, there's a very easy schedule next year on paper. And Aaron Rodgers might want to come to the Niners. So that might reopen the window. We'll see what happens. But it's something to think about. You can't just take this stuff for granted. These teams change. And a team that looks young in 2019 can look old in 2021. Football ages you. I don't play it, but that's what I've heard. Won't it be impossible to cut Ford if he's hurt? I don't know. I think so. I think there's something going on there. I think the Niners would like him to retire. I think D Ford would like them to cut him. There must be a big difference in money. Someone can please explain that to me. I hate math and numbers and money. But I'm sure that's what's going on. The Niners probably get some break if D Ford retires. And D Ford probably gets more cash if he doesn't. So I'm thinking that. What did you hear about? Did you hear what Peter King suggested? Second and Jimmy for Stafford. That would be a dream. That's not going to get it done. That would be the Niners' dream. Peter King is plugged in with the Niners. That makes me think that that's what the Niners are going to offer. And that makes me think that the Niners aren't going to get Matthew Stafford because that's not going to get it done. Raj, I'm going to get to you in a second. It's not going to get it done. A second in Jimmy Garoppolo? No. Why would the Lions want Jimmy Garoppolo? Why? He's expensive. He's not good. He can't stay healthy. They're rebuilding. What does he do for them? They'd be better off with anyone else. Just keep Stafford. What? Or draft a guy. If you're going to give the quarterback, the head coach, a 6-year deal and say, hey, tear it down, rebuild, why are you spending $26 million on a quarterback who's going to lose? That doesn't make any sense. I don't think the Lions would have any interest in Jimmy Garoppolo. Any. So I just don't think that's packages gets you anywhere. The Lions are going to get a first-round pick for Matthew Stafford, whether they deserve it or not. So a second and Jimmy for Stafford. No, that's wishful thinking. So many teams can beat that offer. Some teams might value Jimmy Garoppolo as a second-round pick, not Detroit. Maybe New England would. Not Detroit. Detroit would be dumb to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. They're rebuilding. You need a cheap quarterback, a young quarterback, not a aging, expensive, brittle quarterback. No. Probably the worst fit possible for the Detroit Lions. Peter King, what are you thinking? See, to me, when and all due respect to Peter King, but guys like Peter King, I feel like they don't really think for themselves most of the time. They don't just throw out speculation. They hear stuff, and then they package it as, this is my opinion, this is my speculation. I'd hate to think that the Niners said, hey, we're going to offer him this. And he's like, okay, cool, I'm going to say it. It's like, guys, that's not going to get it done.
What are you thinking?
And that's why I feel like, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, they're the kings of being like, we really wanted Odell Beckham Jr. We really wanted Khalil Mack. We made a great offer. It was a great offer. And they turned us down. I don't understand how. If that's the offer, you didn't make a great one. And maybe that's maybe, let's put it this way. Maybe that is the absolute most the Niners should offer for Matthew Stafford. Because I don't even know if he's that good. He's kind of overrated because he throws a good ball. Maybe they really shouldn't offer more than two and a Jimmy and a 2, but that's not going to get it done. So if that's where they're going to drop out, then they're not going to get Matthew Stafford. Fine, go get Aaron Rodgers in. Trade Nick Bosa. I'm making it easy for you. I'm giving you all the answers, Raj. I'd sign Dak, let Trent walk, trade Armstead, Jimmy for whatever, cut Watson, D, draft a tackle in the first round, and use other picks. All right, let me try this. Hold on. Okay. I'd sign Dak, let Trent walk, trade Armstead, Jimmy for whatever, cut Weston, D, draft a tackle in the first round, and use other picks for other missing holes. Interesting. Let me try to. I'm not going to. Hold on. I'd sign Dak. Let Trent walk. Trade Armstead and Jimmy for whatever. Cut Weston. D. Okay, hold on. Let's start there. Trade Armstead and Jimmy for whatever. I'm with you. You got me. You had me at hello. Cut Weston D. Yup, I like that. Draft a tackle in the first round. Yup, I like that. Here's the thing. You don't necessarily have to let Trent walk. If you sign Dak Prescott, give him a signing bonus, backload the deal. He's affordable for 2 years. You sign Trent Williams, give him a signing bonus. He's affordable for 2 years. If those guys become too expensive, you can trade them in 2 years. Because I'm the only person that seems to have a problem paying the certain percentages for certain players. Other teams are cool with it. So giving him that contract doesn't reduce his value. Get a guy like Dak Prescott. Keep Trent Williams. Get rid of Armstead and Jimmy. Draft an offensive tackle in round 1. I think it's cool. I like it. You keep your picks. Dak Prescott's a hell of a player. When he gets expensive in a few years, and that's a problem, then you can trade him. Fine by me. I like that. He's an asset. Go get him. And right when he gets expensive, unload him. Do it again. Wouldn't be against it. Very clever scheme, Raj. I like the way you think. Because to me, the difference between Dak Prescott and Deshaun Watson is negligible. Minimal. Like if Watson's the 6th best quarterback in the league or the 7th best quarterback in the league, then Dak's the 8th. They're right there. What else did I want to say? Only thing is, he's probably not going to be an unrestricted free agent. Dallas can't just let him leave. They got to do something. So I'm curious to see if he does hit unrestricted free agency. Here's the thing, though. He's going to get a fully guaranteed contract like Kirk Cousins, It's going to be really expensive. He's not going to give any type of break financially to his team. No, it's going to be tough. I think if you sign a quarterback in free agency, you are going to pay way too freaking much. So I'd explore it. I'd see what he wants. But if he wants like $160 million fully guaranteed, or like, like a $500 million, if he wants the Patrick Mahomes contract, I'm sorry, dude. I'm just sorry. I'm not going to do that. No. Because frankly, you couldn't win when you were cheap. You haven't shown that you can win while taking up 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17% of your team's cap. No. If we're going that route, I'm taking a surefire future Hall of Famer like Aaron Rodgers. Sorry. I don't care how old he is. You're not that good, Dak. How open do you think Jimmy is to renegotiating? Not open at all. I think he would rather leave. Hell no. No, I think he feels like it's over. He wants to leave. I kind of get the feeling like he made a business decision and I can't prove it. But he got hurt. He came back. He got hurt again. And I think he heard all the rumors that the Niners are going to move on, that he's part of the problem, that they can't win with him. He can't stay healthy. And he's like, you know what? If you're going to move on from me, you're going to make a business decision and ship me out of here, then I'm going to make a business decision and not play anymore this year. I'm going to keep myself healthy and keep my value highest for the offseason. So when you go there, you're not renegotiating. Oh, let me give some money back so I can stay here. No, the only way you renegotiate is if you get an extension. Okay, like you want to keep me long term. I'll renegotiate. Yeah, I can make myself cheaper in the short term, but you got to give me a signing bonus and lock me in and give me some security so I don't have to wake up every day and look at Twitter and feel like, are the Niners going to trade me today? Even though he has a no trade clause, they can cut him. They can cut him whenever they want. And they just might. So, no, I'm not going to renegotiate. No. And the Niners don't want to extend him. Goodbye. That's why Peter King's saying stuff like Jimmy in a second. They're starting to float those packages around the league. I'm guessing. What can we get for Jimmy in a 2? Not Matt Stafford. Not Aaron Rodgers. Do you think Kyle would ever consider trading Bosa after drafting him so high? I think he would. I think he would consider trading Bosa. He traded Buckner. He considered trading Jimmy Garoppolo last offseason to the Colts, it sounded. He considered signing Austin Hooper, which makes me feel like he considered trading Kittle. Sounds to me like the Niners were thinking, should we go Brady, Buckner, and Hooper? Or Kittle, Garoppolo, Armstead, Blair, Ward, and they eventually went with that. But it seems to me that Kyle was weighing options, and one of the options was trade Kittle, trade Garoppolo, bring in Brady, bring in Hooper. Ultimately, they didn't do that. Maybe they made some emotional decisions. Maybe they learned from it. I do think Kyle would consider trading Bosa if he's shrewd. It's not a family. It's a business. You have to be willing to trade anyone, and you have to at least know what their value is. If you could turn Nick Bosa into Penei Sewell and the best edge rusher in the draft, wouldn't you do that? If you could turn him into a franchise left tackle and a franchise edge rusher, wouldn't you do that? As good as he is, I would. I think Kyle would, if he's smart. I'm not saying you give him away, but you want to know what's the value, don't you? I'd like to think he would at least consider. I'm not saying he'd do it, but Bill Walsh considered trading Bill Walsh. Bill Walsh considered trading Joe Montana. My dad told that story. He didn't have the guts, but it was like mid-'80s. He went into his quarterback room. They had Steve Young. He said, "Who here wants to trade Joe Montana?" And no one raised their hand. But they eventually did trade Joe Montana. It was George Seifert. You got to be willing to consider it eventually. Maitland Eagle said Kinlaw had knee surgery. Yes, the line is Fugazi. Love you, Maiden. Appreciate you, all your generous donations. Xavier, hold on, probably not Xavier. Hold on, just a second. Let me find you. Boom. Off topic, but what do you think about the officiating in the Buccaneers versus Packers game? I don't want to talk about the officiating. I don't care. I don't care. All I noticed was on the final play, they got it right. And a lot of people were kind of whining that, well, he didn't call him like that during the game. Like, I just get it right on the final play. Because what didn't happen a couple of years ago was that stupid thing with the Saints and the Rams where they let blatant pass interference go on the final play, and you got this fraudulent Super Bowl where the Rams didn't even deserve to be there. That Super Bowl should have been Patriots Saints. And when the Rams go in and lay an egg, it's like, well, we shouldn't have even had to watch this. They didn't deserve to be there, and like ball don't lie. Scoreboard don't lie. So the Packers did not deserve to win that game. That was the right call. If they had made it to the Super Bowl because they were allowed to grab and hold a wide receiver on the critical play, that would have been just so dumb. So I don't like whining about the officiating. The one time I thought it was outrageous was 2 years ago with the Saints and Rams. That was ridiculous. Ridiculous. Gotta let them play. No, you gotta enforce the rules. Enforce the rules, especially in a critical play at the end of the game. I understand letting him play to an extent and not calling holding or pass interference every single play of the game. But in the fourth quarter, you can't be like, hey, we go, no. Oh, no. Oh, maybe no. And that's how I would rebut that argument. Maitland Eagle, another one. Hold on, I'm looking for you. Oh, wait, no, it's the same one. Hold on. I think it's time to end the show pretty soon. But I'm not going to end it yet. Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl with an awesome defense. Upgrade the defense. Yeah, the plan shouldn't be to replicate the Trent Dilfer team. Grant, would Jed trade Kyle if he fails to make playoffs next year? Ooh, I love this topic, and I'm going to end on this one because I never thought of it, and it's really smart. It's super smart. Here's the thing. If we're going to say that Nick Bosa, no players off limits, you gotta know what any player can bring back in a trade. Well, same goes for a coach. I'm not saying Kyle's not good. I'm just saying, like Nick Bosa now, I think his perceived ability far outpaces his actual ability. He's very good. People consider him the next Bill Belichick, the next Bill Walsh. Okay, that is a market inefficiency you might want to take advantage of. Because if he loses next year, that facade, that impression, that whatever you want to call it, belief that people have in him is going to erode. And you're going to lose your opportunity to trade Kyle Shanahan for all those picks. So yeah, if he has another losing season next year and people still give him excuses like, oh, it's a quarterback or it's injuries or whatever, maybe you privately say, you know what, maybe it's time to trade this dude and get like 4 first-round picks because he's such a genius and everyone wants him. And we'll try with someone else who's just slightly less of a genius, but has 4 first-round picks. It'd be interesting. I don't think Jed York has the stones to do it, but I don't think he has the stones to trade Nick Bosa either. It's definitely a fun discussion. What would it take for the Niners to trade Kyle Shanahan? Another losing season and a couple first-round picks? I don't know. Now, it would have been better timing to trade Kyle Shanahan now because you could have promoted Robert Saleh. If you trade Kyle Shanahan next year, who do you promote? D'Amico Ryans? Maybe. But look, I'm not poo-pooing it. I think it's very interesting. And if I were Jed York, it would be on the back burner. Not the front burner, but it would be simmering on the back burner. It'd be something I've been thinking about. Because I know I have a head coach that everyone wants. I know I have a head coach that if I were to fire him, he would get hired in a minute. But if I decide that he's just not head coaching material, if he's Norv Turner 2.0, can I cash in? Yes. So, Bruce Kent, good question. Hi, Grant. Thoughts to your dad. Thank you. What would it take for the team picking in the 20s to get up to 12th? Like Trask, where should we pick him? Thing about Trask is his his stock is plummeting. He's not going to be a first-round pick. He is not going to participate in the Senior Bowl. He has an ankle injury. There's not going to be a combine. He's going to have a pro day, and that's it. So it's looking like it's more likely he'll be a day 3 pick than a day 1 pick. Don't worry about getting Kyle Trask. He'll be there. Don't worry about it. I still like him, but he's hurt. He can't prove himself in the Senior Bowl. He's not going top 50. So all of a sudden, that's your ace. That's your ace up your sleeve if you want him. Get him in round 3. Might be able to get him in round 4. But what you said, what will it take to get from 20 to 12? So okay, hold on. Trade value chart. Let's say the Niners want to trade down 8 spots. I'll tell you what they'd get in return. Okay, so the 12th pick is worth 1,200 draft points, whatever that means. The 20th pick is worth 850. So that's a difference of what? 350, I believe. So what does that? That's a late 2. That's the 55th pick in the draft. So if the Niners were to move back 8 spots, they'd get a second-round pick. The 12th isn't that valuable. The top 5 picks are super expensive. It's hard to get up that far. But the 12th pick, yeah, you can move back down to 12, get an extra 2. And that way the Niners would have the 20th pick. They would have the 43rd pick and the 55th pick. So now you got 3 in the top 55. You could get tackle, offensive tackle, defensive end, quarterback. Boom, boom, boom. Or offensive tackle, defensive end, cornerback. Boom, boom, boom. You could do that. I like the idea of trading down one way or another. I think the Niners need to trade down one way or another. Grant, who said no to Brady? They all did. I don't know. Ultimately, Kyle Shanahan makes a decision. If Kyle Shanahan wanted Tom Brady, he'd be here. So I put it on Kyle. It's not like Kyle's like, I want Tom Brady. And Parag Marath was like, no, I think it's a bad idea. And Kyle's like, man, you never let me do what I want. That's not fair. I wanted to have him. No. If Kyle said, I want Tom Brady, they'd be like, all right, well, yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll work it out. Man, it's not fair. You guys never give me the quarterbacks I want. I said I wanted him, and you didn't get no. If Kyle wanted Tom, he'd be here. Sorry, dude. People treat Kyle Shanahan like he's 15, you know. Oh, I wanted a car. I didn't get a car. Never little thing. No, dude. You can do whatever you want. The world is your oyster, Kyle. Hold on. We need a corner. Is the answer in the draft? And if so, where, who? Yeah. You always want to get corners in the draft because when they hit free agency, they're expensive and old. You want to keep Jason Verrett if you can. But the thing about this year's draft class with corners, it's deep. If the Niners traded down from 12 to 20, they could get that corner at 55 and get a good one. Usually the good corners are done by about 25 or maybe really 15. But yeah, I think you could get a premier athlete at corner into the mid-second round this year. But I don't have any names for you. I just say that. So we'll see. Oh, I didn't get the quarterback I wanted. Oh, it's not fair. Jed, oh, come on. That's my Michael Jackson impression. Hey, Grant, does Kyle whine like that in the QB room and criticizing? Come on, Jimmy. How many times have I told you? Don't throw that. That's not the right read. Ew, I want the quarterback I want. It's not fair. Stop whining, Kyle. That's your guy. You wanted that guy. Stop acting like you didn't want that guy. You love Jimmy G. You liked him when he was leaving Eastern Illinois, didn't you? You loved him. Now you got to coach him. You hate him. Come on. It's not fair. I used to talk like that when I was a kid, I think. I was a big whiner. So I say that from experience. I'm not calling you a whiner, Kyle, without having whining tendencies myself. So it's ignorant. It's ignorant. All right, man. Hour 15. Thanks, guys, for watching. I wish my dad was here. I wish my dad was here with me. But he'll be back soon. I'll see him soon. Thanks, guys, for watching. And I'll be back this afternoon with Jack Hammer. Be watching Trey Lance. Oh, it's gonna be so good. So good. Here's the thing. He has a lot in common with Tim Tebow. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, guys. See you in a couple hours. Can't wait.